Hey, what up, what up? It's Pico over here. It is super late, you guys. I'm super late today. So, it's Sunday morning at about 3:45 in the morning right now. And, I gotta admit, I almost didn't make this podcast tonight. Um, Last night was the 9th of December, and this is the 139th episode. Last night was a hell of a day. Yesterday was a hell of a day. I had a really great day. Started off by waking up very early in the morning to make it for an international conference call, basically. So the conference call was set for 6 o'clock. It didn't quite happen. At 6, I kind of got a call at 6:30, and even then she was in between some kind of a retreat, so she would just give me a call in between what she was going on in her retreat. So talked to her about 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, but the connection was so bad I kept having to ask her to repeat stuff, so I'm sure that was super annoying for her. It felt really bad, and we kind of just tried to find a better way to communicate, and then it kind of just never happened. So I ended up falling back asleep waiting for her, and then finally woke up, and it was like, I don't know, 8. Had to jump out of bed and start getting ready for the rest of the day, because I was scheduled to go to the west coast of Singapore and, oh my god, excuse me, meet my cousin out there, do some Christmas shopping, and then head back home. So I actually did that. I went to Jurong East on the west coast of Singapore, which sounds super confusing. We went shopping, got everything done, came back home, and just kind of chilled out. We watched a Christmas movie, and then I decided, okay, I need to get started on baby girl's hair. Big mistake. I should have started as I started the first movie, because as y'all know, like when I do detailed work on her hair, it takes a very long time. Poor thing. We got done with her hair tonight at 1 o'clock this morning. And I came in, put her to sleep, and obviously she wanted me to hold her. She was kind of like grumpy, not feeling so good. Hold her as she fell asleep. I fell asleep too. So to be quite frank, I've woken up a couple times when I open trying to think about, okay, I need to do this podcast. What do I talk about? I have no idea. And consequently fell asleep again. And now that happened like 3-4 times before I actually got up and recorded. So, not the best way to start a podcast, but I'm being honest with you. My days and nights kind of blur together. As an entrepreneur, I do make a lot of sacrifices on my time, and it's not always like the ideal situation, but I do want to make sure I do it, because I don't want to break this momentum I have going. The fact that, I've done it every night, whether it's 6 minutes or 36 minutes, I always put in something. Tonight, I've been guided to talk to you about intuition. And by guided to talk to you, I mean, every time I start a podcast, you guys, honestly speaking, when I go ahead and mark the live as a live audio, I have to write down the number of the episode and then the title of the episode, which is the hardest part for me. I mean, I could get on here and just start talking, but there's no point in doing that, because then I really don't have like an organized message of any sort. So tonight I want to talk about intuition, because for me that's been like my main source of guidance. It's like a guidance chip inside me, I guess. So I feel as though everyone has a different kind of intuition. Everyone just depends on different things and different signs. Some people just do without thinking. Some people wait for a sign. Some people ask certain people, and based on what those people say, they go ahead and do whatever they feel is right. For me, it's a big combination. And it changes with the phase I'm in my life. So right now, I feel like I know what my gut is trying to tell me to do, and I want to go do that, but I will wait until I have confirmation from somewhere else that, yeah, this is probably the best thing for you to do right now, before I go ahead and do it. For example, Cheryl is a big source of intuition for me. It's like a confirmation of my own intuition. I know I've talked about her several times, and she really is a godsend to me. Basically, what'll happen is I'll be thinking about my business. For example, before my 100th episode, I was thinking, what can I do? 100th episode is coming up. It's like suddenly like I've hit a milestone that I wasn't even prepared for. What do I do? How do I do it? And I was thinking, I'm on SoundCloud. But if you think about it, not many people are on SoundCloud. But everybody is on YouTube. And YouTube is basically the second largest search engine besides Google. So why don't I get on YouTube? And I wasn't sure if that was the right call or not. And then suddenly Cheryl came out of nowhere. We started talking. And she was like, have you considered YouTube? And I was like, well, you know what? I have been considering it. And you telling me that I should is kind of like confirmation that, yes, okay, this is a good idea. Go ahead and do that. What else? There's another one just recently with her as well. Oh goodness, I can't even remember. Okay, well, more simple than that. Like I said, before I start my podcasts, like up until like 2-3 minutes before I begin recording, that is, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll sit and I'll think about what I went through that day. The conversations I had, the things I was able to accomplish, the things I had to put off, like any kind of recurring theme, anything that showed up once or twice or 3 times in that day, and then it becomes, all right, well, that should be the topic for the day. And I'm honestly telling you, I am winging it to a degree because I haven't planned this out. I don't sit down on a Sunday night and plan out everything I'm going to talk about that week. I really do let it come to me. I really do talk to you about it as it happens because I don't want it to be too scripted. I want it to be off the cuff. I want it to be a real live recording. To me, if I rehearse it too much, if I think about it too much, then I kind of have to curate everything I'm going to say. It doesn't necessarily have to be based on what I did that day. And for me, it's more important for you to see what I did, in real life than it is for me to curate a bunch of other people's quotes and, put it into an underlying theme, so to speak. So, yeah, intuition is a big thing for me. I go with my gut a lot. And that is like on logical things. I also go with my gut in emotional things, but sometimes ego gets in the way of that. So here's the thing. You think you know what your intuition is, right? And it's always a voice inside your head. But guess what? Ego is also a voice inside your head. Ego has a little bit more to do with your pride. It has a little bit more to do with, preventing yourself from being hurt, protecting your rights, trying to make sure you don't look like a fool. Whereas source energy, your gut intuition, basically is a drive to do something regardless of what impact it has to you, if that makes sense. For instance, let's say you're used to talking to somebody every day, and for some reason that person has disappeared for a little bit, and you think about all the ways that you could contact them, but you feel as though your hands are tied. You really can't contact them the way you want to contact them. So your ego kicks in and you're saying, oh man, well, you know what? Fuck that. They can't contact me. Why should I contact them? I should just let them go. Is that in my best interest to take care of them anyway? Why should I? That's an ego thing. You're trying to prevent yourself from being hurt, from being let down, from looking foolish by contacting them and then, being vulnerable to whatever it is that they react, or however they react. Whereas gut intuition would say, hey, it's not like them to go this long without talking to you. You should reach out. You know the difference between ego and intuition if you sit still and listen long enough. A lot of times, ego comes from fear, from doubt. It comes from a place of, I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me. Or I'm going to put you in your place so you can't hurt me. It's not it doesn't come from a place of love. It doesn't come from a place of, how can I serve you? How can I take care of you without any, kickback to me, basically. So it is important to differentiate between intuition and ego. I find that a lot of times you'll start off with intuition, but as I think about the situation, if I think about it too long without doing, ego will kick in. So for instance, like I said, in that situation with your friend, right? If they haven't talked to you, you want to reach out, just reach out. Just do it. Obviously, you got to be careful of how you reach out, if you're going to get them in trouble or not, if you're going to upset, I don't know, the balance of their world, whatever it is, you just got to be careful. So whatever form, method of, communication that you have available to you, go reach out to them. And I'm not saying go call them 27 times until they do answer the phone. There is a difference between letting them know you care and stalking them or becoming controlling about the situation. Like, I'm going to call you until you answer me back. I'm going to put you in a situation where you have no choice but to answer me back. That's still ego. That's still ego. I know people that are in situations where if you go silent, if you drop off the grid a little bit, and yeah, I mean, I understand more than most because I'm an ambivert. I need people sometimes, and sometimes I need to be left the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want any humans around me. I just need to be me for a little bit. I just need to be quiet for a little bit. So yeah, for those people who do need the quiet, other people who don't need quiet don't understand that. They will, in an effort to bring you back toward them, to pull you back in orbit around them, will try and force you to notice them. It's almost like a temper tantrum that a child throws. I know there was this idea that was going on when I was a kid that, any attention is good, better than no attention at all. So, you have kids that are problematic, that throw temper tantrums, that continuously misbehave in an effort to get you to notice them. And in their mind, whatever bad behavior they've done, they continue to do it because you reinforce it by actually acknowledging them, actually paying them attention when they do act up like that. So you're basically not endearing, what's that word? You're basically allowing the behavior by responding the way they want you to respond. It's kind of like a trap. For me, it's Gaia who wants to put up, a pout when she doesn't get her way, where she throws a temper tantrum. She starts, acting out in a way that she thinks I will react so that she can still get what she wants. And that's not the way to actually get someone's attention. It's a way of controlling them. It's ego. It's not coming from a place of love. So you need to be able to identify and understand that is the difference between ego and intuition. I know there are grown adults out there who like to flaunt their relationship in front of everybody else, even though they're not claiming you properly. They're not really, they're not doing their part. But anytime you kind of retreat into yourself, the first thing they want to do is tag you in posts, sweat you about where you've been, what you're doing, call you 1,000 times, stuff like that. So that's all ego. That is not intuition. That's not coming from a place of love. For me personally, the best way I can let you know that while you're in your, your introvert mode or whatever, the best way I can let you know that I'm still around is to let you, just send one post or one text or something, just to say, hey, you're okay, or hey, I'm thinking about you. Sometimes to constantly worry, hey, I'm worried, also makes people retreat a little bit further. Even though you mean well, that could be taken or misconstrued differently. So always remember that intuition comes from a place of love, comes from a place of serving people, whereas ego is in it to protect yourself. It's a fearful, doubtful kind of reaction to life instead of, promoting goodwill, promoting confidence, and speaking life into other people. All right, so it's just about 4 o'clock, and I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I will check on y'all again tomorrow, as always, and I hope this kind of made some sense. I hope it gave you a little more insight into my creative thought process, how I basically, get my podcast done, how I create my content. It's actually the way I do everything. I don't know what I'm going to say until a couple minutes before I say it, mostly because I want it to be authentic. I want it to be off the cuff. Sometimes there are quotes that I'll come by that I really do like, and I'll save them. But when I go through my gallery of, screenshots or pinned images, it really depends on what resonates with me that day because of what happened that day before I pull up that quote and actually post it. Okay? All right, you guys, I love you all. I hope you take care of yourselves. Have a blessed Saturday night, Sunday morning, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. All right? Thanks. Bye.